How's it going to be the time when he goes out tonight? Get ready. At number 3, we're coming over to Price Cabinet 3.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, what is it?
The CT wants you in his office, sir.
Take over, Bill, will you? The CT wants me.
Okay.
Now, would you show us in close-up what you are going to demonstrate, when the camera's in close-up?
This is the tawny or brown owl, the kind we get in the London parks, and a very useful... Oh, no. First of all, the wings, well, just like that.
I hope that comes off.
The beak and the...
Excuse me, sir. The CT wants you.
Right. The CT wants you in his office.
Oh, dear.
Hello there.
Hi.
What's all this in aid of?
The apprentice has an idea for a new program. Another spelling bee, I shouldn't be surprised.
That lets me out. I can't spell my own name.
Ah, gentlemen, come in. Sit down, won't you? I won't keep you long. Well, I've called you here together to discuss a rather interesting proposal put up by Mr. Prentice here. You know, those of us who've been in television since the beginning realize that nothing succeeds like a series or a serial. I almost said nothing succeeds like excess. Rather like advertising. Repeat a thing often enough and everybody has to buy it, whether they really like it or not. In fact, the DG sometimes says, jokingly of course, that if one televised a few pages of the London telephone directory regularly for 5 or 6 weeks, one would gain an average audience of over 10 million. Which brings us to Mr. Prentice. All right, David, tell us your idea.
Thank you, sir. Would you mind if I took off my coat, sir?
Why, is it hot in here?
No, but I always think better with it off.
Remove it, by all means.
Thank you, sir. Well, now, my plan, in a nutshell, is to put on every evening at a peak viewing hour a program that will, well, that will mirror the lives of an ordinary, happily married husband and wife. We show their ups and downs, well, the fun they get out of life, the minor tragedies that inevitably creep into their lives, their hobbies, what they're talking about, thinking, reading, and so on, so on, and so on.
A sort of Mrs. Dale's diary, in fact.
Oh, no, nothing like that. We want an actual real-life couple with genuine glamour and excitement in their lives.
And whose fundamental interest is a contented home life.
Exactly.
You'll never find them, old boy.
Why not? I mean, we can pick a well-known actor and actress who also happen to be married.
And how do you know they still will be by the time you get the second program?
That's a sound point, Johnson.
But there are several of them that have been happily married for years.
Such as?
Oh, the Attenboroughs.
The Olivias.
I think we can do better than that. What about the Fosters? They've been married for years. Both of them in stars for as long as I can remember. And, sir, absolutely devoted to one another.
Just a minute, Laura. Laura!
Simon! Open this door!
Not till you apologize.
I'll break it down first.
Just you try.
Can!
Slut!
Beast!
Troller!
Oh!
You called, sir?
Simon!
I was addressing my wife.
I beg pardon.
Open this door!
Wilson,
Sir?
what time is the next presentable train for Leicester?
The discriminating travelers speak very highly of the 1:25, sir.
Good. Well, nip round to Cook's and get me a ticket.
One, sir?
One, single. Try and get me a corner seat. What do you want?
Money, sir. I am temporarily embarrassed.
Well, take it out of the housekeeping money.
The housekeeping is also embarrassed,
Well,
sir.
scrape it out somehow.
Excuse me, sir. Someone seems to be knocking, sir.
All right, well, answer it. There's the key.
Thank you very much.
Will you open this door? You ghastly old hand! You! Thank you, Wilson.
A pleasure, madam.
Hello? May I speak to Mr. Burton, please? Don't give me that. Birdie hasn't made a round of the studios for 20 years. Tell him I'll be there in 10 minutes. Wilson, bring me a suitcase.
I have it here, sir.
Good.
And your clean shirts, sir.
Are you, planning to go somewhere?
Yes, home to Mother.
For long?
For good.
Then you'd better take this scarf. You'll probably need it. Your mother's house gets very damp in the winter.
Where'd you get this?
In your golf jacket? No wonder your handicap's gone up to 20.
Laura, I've asked you not to go through my things like a customs official.
I can well understand why. These I found in your golfing trousers.
What are they?
2 tees, a hair grip, and an earring, sir.
Ladies' Day at Sunningdale must be quite an occasion.
Wilson, I asked you to go and get me a ticket.
Yes, sir, at once, sir. It's just that I find the rapier thrust of madam's conversation highly stimulating, sir.
Simon, before you go, I just want to say one thing. You've left me permanently for your mother's 5 times in the last 3 years. The average length of absence has been about 10 weeks. Then you've appeared in that doorway with a nauseating smirk on your face and 2 dozen roses in your hand. And I, heaven forgive me, have said, all right, come in. Well, understand this, Simon. This time, I'm not saying come in.
And this time, I'm not wasting my money on roses.
You didn't the last 2 times. The bill came in from the florist and I paid it.
12, 15, 17, 19, 22, 23. Still not enough. The governor never traveled 3rd class.
Well, bang goes the brat money again.
Well, you must be philosophical about it, Jessie.
Well, I only hope the baker will be. Oh, very pretty. And where are you off to now?
I'm going to see my agent.
Remind him, if he's drawing up any sort of a settlement, that the furniture's mine and paid for.
And the house is mine.
You mean the mortgage on it is, and the payments are 18 months in arrears. Now, what will you do, my darling, when you get to Leicester? Is there a repertory theatre you could join?
Repertory?
They'd probably welcome an older man with your experience. Very interesting life, too. Streetcar named Desire 1 week, lace on your petticoat the next.
I'm sorry, the idea doesn't appeal to me.
Oh, pity. It might get rid of some of those irritating mannerisms of yours.
Mannerism.
You can't do double takes 52 weeks in a year, even in Leicester. At the end of the 2nd month, the people begin to think you had a permanent twitch.
Might I remind you that you were carrying on trays when I was already a leading man?
Might I remind you that you haven't worked for the last 11 months? And I very much doubt if you'll work for another 11. The skids are well and truly under you, Simon, only you're too pig-headed to admit it.
Thank you very much. Your great faith in me is most touching. Wait here a minute, will you please? Morning. Mr. Burton's expecting me.
I'm sorry, but...
Oh, pay off my taxi, will you, darling? I haven't any change.
no more after I've been in touch with Pinky. Yours faithfully.
Good morning, Bertie. Good morning, Miss
I
Jones.
don't see anything good about it.
I know, you're busy, so am I. I called in for a cheque, not a chat. £50 will do.
Now, why should I give you £50?
As an advance.
An advance against what?
I don't be silly, Bertie. Against my next salary cheque.
And when will that come?
Well, you ought to know. You're my agent, aren't you?
Unfortunately, yes. I'd like to ask you something, Simon. Just what do you think an agent is for?
Ah, that's something we've all wondered from time to time.
No banter. I'll tell you. To get you jobs and take 10% of the money you make.
Exactly.
Now, I'll tell you what he's not for. He's not for settling your income tax. He's not for settling your gambling debts. Nor for cabling you your return fare from Monte Carlo when you're cleaned out at the table.
Oh, well, you enjoy a flutter yourself?
Certainly I do. But when I lose, I don't come to you and ask you to pay my bookmaker.
Neither do I.
No, well, it comes to the same thing when you expect me to advance you 10% of some other actor's salary when you've neither of you worked for a year.
Well, I must admit, for an agent, you've been very generous.
Oh, thank you. That's big of you. That's very big of you.
On the other hand, if you'd got me a job, I wouldn't have been out of work for over a year.
Now. Let's not be sordid. Excuse me. Yes?
Miss Drake's still waiting to see you, Mr. Burton.
Oh, good heavens, don't keep her waiting. Send her in. Give him a check, give him the cash box, give him the keys to the safe.
Hello.
Darling, nobody told me you were here. Do you know Simon Foster?
How do you do?
I'm still not absolutely convinced that I'm doing the right thing. I tell you what I will do. I'll agree to a 4 weeks trial. How's that?
I'm sure you won't regret it, sir. And I can contact the Fosters?
Yes, if they're agreeable, you can go ahead with the preliminary plans. Oh, and see that the script stresses the solidarity of the home. Peaceful, happy atmosphere of marital bliss. It's very important. Oh, who were you thinking of for the writer?
Well, I thought of Janet Honeyman, sir.
I mean the girl who's doing insect life in British ponds.
Oh, but she did do the Darby and Joan program, too, sir.
All right, I'll leave it to you.
Thank you, sir.
There's one thing you've forgotten, Mr. Prentice.
Sir?
Your coat.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Your ticket, sir.
Oh, thank you, Wilson. Now, here's a couple of pounds. Keep the change.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Now, before I go, wages. Now, on second thoughts, I'll give you and Jessie a cheque.
I shouldn't bother, sir. It only causes embarrassment.
No, I'll write you one at once. What are you doing?
There's no need to add kleptomania to your other failings.
You put those back at once. They happen to be mine.
They most certainly are not.
They were presented to me by the cast on the 300th performance of Marriage in Mayfair.
I seem to remember that on the 300th performance, you were on holiday in Paris with Sybil Hunter.
Flora, before I leave, I want you to know I forgive you for all your insults, including that last one.
My insults. Oh, that's rich. Who started that sordid brawl this morning?
The same person who usually
The
does.
reason was cigarette ends in teacups.
It was nothing of the sort.
If
It was
there's
the back
one
page.
thing I abominate, it's a filthy wet mess of loose tobacco swilling about
I
amongst
merely
the
happened to
teething.
mention... As I was saying, when you slammed the door in my face...
There are 7 ashtrays placed in strategic positions all around the room. Now, do you ever use one? Oh, no. If you can't find a teacup handy, your beastly cigarettes get stamped out on my dressing table, in the rose bowl, or down the sink. I go around cleaning up after you like an attendant at the zoo.
Have you finished?
For the time being, yes.
One of the most tragic fates a man can suffer is to be saddled to a nag.
Saddled to a what?
A nag. No matter how much you think my education has been neglected, the equestrian phraseology was intentional.
You know, you really shouldn't try and talk like Wilson. You just haven't got the presence to get away with it.
This morning, on looking through the back page of the daily paper, I merely happened to mention that the lady in the divorce case had remarkably good legs.
I remember perfectly.
7 minutes later, after you'd twisted that remark, you'd practically made me the correspondent.
Well, what do you expect if you will be seen going around with Sybil Hunter?
Sybil Hunter happens to be a patron of the arts.
Bunk. She's a patron of one thing and one thing only, men. And in her declining years, she's getting less and less choosy. What men?
Gerald Baxter to you.
And what is the matter with Gerald Baxter? He's made some excellent pictures in his last 2 years.
And he's made some excellent passes at you, and you've encouraged him.
How dare you? You take that back at once.
I will not. I called you a trollop, and I meant a trollop. Trollop!
After due consideration, we decided that the Fosters were the ideal couple. What do you say?
Oh, I beg your pardon. When do you want to start?
Right away.
Oh, that's extremely dodgy, oh boy. 3 different studios wanted for a picture. Simon has an offer to do a play, and Laura's more or less promised to take over a big part on Broadway.
Oh. Oh, I see.
It's all those dollars, you know how it is. They sound so much more than pounds, particularly BBC pounds, if you don't mind my saying so.
Oh, dear. Oh, well, I suppose I better try the Olivias.
No, don't do that. I mean, I just hate to let you down. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get them on the phone and see if I can bring a little pressure to bear.
Oh, well, that'd be awfully kind of you, sir.
Not at all.
Yes, Mr. Burton.
Miss Jones, put a call through to the Fosters, will you?
Hello? Oh, Mr. Burton. No, I'm afraid Mr. Foster's not at home. No, sir, Madam's resting. He's just left. He's catching the 1:25 to Leicester. I believe... No manners.
Where to, sir?
Leicester, the 1:25.
Right.
The 1:25, train to Brentford, leaves from platform 3. Calling at Leicester, trains Chesterfield, Sheffield, Leeds, and...
Simon! Simon!
Hello, Bertie.
Come over here. I want to talk to you.
What's the matter?
Now, what's all this nonsense about you going to Leicester?
It is not nonsense. I'm going home to Mother. I've left Laura.
Left Laura? You can't do that. Not now. Not when I have work for you.
What did you say, dear boy?
Work! Yes, it's extraordinary, isn't it? Look, we can't talk here. Let's go and have a drink.
All right. Come on.
Now. Two scotches, Miss, please. Large ones.
Now, Bertie, what's all this about a job?
Simon, I think I deserve a pat on the back. I've landed you something every actor in this country will give his eye teeth for.
What, in the theatre?
The theatre? Oh, don't be silly. Well, the theatre's had it.
There's something the matter?
No, I'm sorry. No, do forgive me. Don't mind me. But, you know, just for the moment, I thought you were Simon Foster. But, of course, I see you're very much older.
Thank you. Well, is it a film?
Films? By the time they've made up their mind what size and shape they're going to be, they'll be through. 3D, 4D, curved screen, cinerama. Who cares if the story's no good? Don't spoil it.
Bertie, I've already made it crystal clear I cannot skate.
My dear fellow, I wouldn't even be putting you on ice.
Well, what is it?
Television.
Television? And you call that a wonderful job?
But of course.
3 weeks rehearsal, hardly enough money for your fare to the studio, a technical breakdown in the middle of your big scene, and no repeat performance. No, thank you.
Oh, but, Simon, this is going to be something entirely different. Something that may well put you and Laura right back...
Laura, is she in it?
But of course. I mean, what's one without the other? Romeo and Juliet, Swan and Edgar, and Scotch and Soda, Simon and Laura.
Now, just a minute. In the first place, I have no intention of appearing on television, and in the second place, Laura and I are parting. I'm going home to Mother's. And that is final.
Now, Simon, look, be sensible.
Excuse me. 9 shillings, please.
Bertie, you're wasting your time. Nothing could persuade me to work with Laura anymore.
But you know you're marvelous when you're together.
If you'd seen what went on this morning, you wouldn't be too sure.
Leave it to Bertie. I'll fix all that.
Look, it'd take more than one piffling TV engagement to bring us together again.
This isn't one engagement, you clod. It's for every day.
What do you mean every day?
5 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. In 3 months, you'll be a national figure. Ah, there's David Prentice now. Arriving together, that's a good omen.
I'm glad you think so.
David, dear boy, this is Simon Foster.
How do you do?
How do you do, sir?
Well, come along in.
Good afternoon, Wilson. Good
Where's your mistress, Wilson?
Upstairs, sir.
Oh, will you tell her Mr. Burton's here on business with the producer?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you must forgive my staring. It's disconcerting, I know, but nowadays I see everything in terms of angles.
You must make it a bit tricky when you're addressing a golf ball.
Oh, I don't play golf.
No, I didn't think you would.
Yes, yours is a face with problems.
You, to coin a phrase, are telling me.
No, I mean camera problems. But a lot, of course, can be done with lighting.
Yes, or you could put it behind the sofa. Do come in.
Oh, thank you. Ah, this is a good room.
Oh, you think it has a spiritual atmosphere?
No, I mean from our point of view.
Madam presents her compliments and asks me to assure you she'll be with you immediately.
Thank you very much, Wilson.
Was that your manservant?
Oh, Wilson, yes. He was an actor, then he was my dresser.
Ah, an actor. Ah, yes, I thought so. He's a natural. He moves, doesn't he?
From time to time, yes.
Aha! Laura, darling.
Bertie.
Laura, I want you to meet a very brilliant young producer, David Prentice.
Hello.
Hello.
David, what on earth are you doing here?
Well, if you come and sit down and relax, he'll probably tell you.
I thought you were on your way to Leicester.
I'm getting a later train.
Don't miss it, dear.
Don't worry, if I do, I'll sleep in the waiting room.
Isn't it absurd? Always pretending to be fighting. Such children.
David, come and sit here by me and tell me what it's all about.
Oh, well, do you mind if I sort of wander about a bit?
Oh, please do.
May I slip my jacket off?
Is it hot in here?
Oh, no, but, well, I always think better with it off. Well, I am here because CT...
CT?
Oh, he's the controller of television. And DTD, he's the director of television drama. Well, they have given me the go-ahead on a new program which deals with the private life of a celebrated couple who are really happily married.
Who was that?
Well, the governor's come back.
I hope he doesn't want his lunch,
Why?
because I've eaten it.
Pardon.
They're doing the same thing in America, you know. Oh, yes, and with great success. You probably read recently, Mrs. Foster, the nationwide interest over there when the wife in their program had a baby on TV.
I hope you're not suggesting I should do the same.
Well, it's not absolutely essential.
I'm so glad.
Well, anyway, we feel that it is essential that everything else should be as authentic as we can make it. You know, a sort of, well, an EWA.
A sort of what?
Oh, an eyewitness account. But that, I'm
too big a pardon.
terribly sorry. But that is why our couple should be not only well known as actors, but as a genuinely happy husband and wife. Frankly, it rested between you and the Olivias. But both CT and DT plump for you.
Oh, why?
Because you've been married so very much longer. Well, what do you say?
No.
Sorry, old boy, it's out of the question.
Simon, Laura, are you mad?
Don't be ridiculous, Bertie. Mr. Prentice had better know immediately that Simon and I
Have
are...
arranged. Prentice, old man, would you mind awfully waiting till this evening for an answer?
Oh, not at all, no.
Good. Everything will be all right. Just leave it to Uncle Bertie. Don't you worry. Don't forget your briefcase. Naturally, a thing like this needs thinking over. They have so many offers, so much to consider. You know how it is, inclined to make them a bit... yeah.
Oh.
Now, I tell you what. Suppose we dine together this evening at Barriers.
Oh, that would be splendid.
About 8 o'clock?
Might I bring my scriptwriter along, too?
Bring your skull boy, my dear boy. Bring everybody. CT, DDT, DTs, everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Prentice?
Sir?
You've forgotten something.
Oh.
Yes, put your coat on. You'll catch cold.
Oh, thank you so much. Until 8 o'clock, then?
Yes.
Well, au revoir.
Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Take care of yourself. What on earth is the matter with you two? Have you taken leave of your senses?
I've taken leave of Laura, that's all.
And not a moment too soon.
I'm sorry, Bertie. Better luck next time.
There isn't going to be a next time. May I remind you that between you, you owe me £1,647 18 shillings.
You're lucky. You should see what I owe my bookmaker.
Now, I'm warning you, both of you, that if you turn this down, I cannot afford to go on taking 10% of your earnings. It's too expensive.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I suppose it would be quite an opportunity.
It could lead anywhere, Laura, anywhere.
Is the money good?
All money's good when you haven't been making any. And this will be coming in regularly every Friday.
Do you suppose we could come to some arrangement?
Not with you in Leicester.
Well, if I don't go to Leicester.
I suppose we could. But it would have to be purely a business arrangement. Everything I said this morning stands.
Naturally.
All right. Ring for Wilson and tell him to put your things in the spare room.
That's my Laura.
By the way, Laura, where did you meet that ghastly young man?
At the Baxters. And he's not ghastly. He's sweet.
At the Baxters.
Now, you two,
And
may I
I've got
suggest that you take a little rest, just relax while I go and talk to the BBC contracts department?
Don't let them do you down, Bertie.
Do me down. Darling, don't be absurd. Christopher Marley, head of BBC contracts, used to be my fag at Eton. Till tonight. Not to worry, nobody's to worry about a thing. Here's to it.
Here's to it. Indeed. I can't tell you how glad I am that you've agreed. You know, I've been a fan of yours for years.
Why don't you tell her how you played truant from school to catch one of her matinees?
Well, it's very funny you should say that, because as a matter of fact, I did play truant once, but that was to see you.
From prep school, I take it.
You know, I simply adore the delightful air of banter that exists between you two.
Banter?
Yes, there's a sort of, well, a brittle, superficial thrust and parry, and yet beneath it, one can sense a true bond.
Can one?
Of course one can.
And it's exactly what we want to emphasize in this program. Oh, that reminds me. If I may, I'd like to bring my art director round to your house. We're going to make an exact copy of it in the studio so that you'll feel perfectly at ease and be able to behave exactly as if you were at home.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Here's our scriptwriter.
Janet.
Simon.
Janet Honeyman. By all that's wonderful. Hello, darling. How are
dear, I'm fine. I take it you two have met before.
you? Yes, at one of Sybil Hunter's parties.
Really? How do you do, Miss Honeyman? I think I ought to tell you that in this program, I play the wife.
Hello. I'm so sorry I didn't see you sitting there.
Well, let's hope the viewers will be more fortunate. Shall we go in?
Yes, shall we?
I suppose it never occurred to you that I might be using that newspaper.
Gilbert, you're the very man I wanted to see.
Oh, Simon, my dear boy, Simon. Arthur, bring Mr. Foster whiskey and water.
Thanks. I need your help, Gilbert. I'm on the brink of a television series.
Oh, better make that a large whiskey,
Yes.
Arthur. Weekly series?
No, daily.
Oh, no. You better bring the whole bottle.
Yes, sir.
My poor friend, my poor Simon. Do you know what happens to you when you allow yourself to be regularly exhibited in that glass rectangle?
No,
Well, I'll tell you. You become public property. Your face, electronically distorted, is huddled round and gawped at by 3/4 of the population of the United Kingdom. And within a month, every wrinkle, every wart and pustule has become part of our British way of life.
Well,
Start speaking your mind, and they'll say you're rude and offensive. Stop speaking your mind, and you're namby-pamby and you're slipping.
Yes, but they tell
Mind you, I'm not saying the British public isn't warm-hearted and generous. They are. Terrifyingly so. You have but to clear your throat, and the following day you'll be inundated with linctuses and pastilles, pills and potions and friars and every kind of balsam.
Thank you, Gilbert. So your tips have been very encouraging.
Oh, great pleasure.
Have you finished with these, Lady Barnett?
Yes, thank you so much.
Isabel.
Laura, my dear, how nice to see you.
I'm so glad I've run into you. Listen, they want me to do a television series.
Good for you.
Well, that's just it. I mean, is it? You see, it's a daily series.
Daily? There aren't that number of earrings in the world.
Earrings?
My dear, for a woman on television, only 3 things really matter. Hair, jewelry, clothes.
Now what about clothes? Does one plunge or does one come up to here?
Sort of happy medium, you know. About there. Actually, there is a regulation BBC plimsoll line. If you sink below it, they come along and pin a bit of sacking across.
Oh, dear. Well, in that case, Raymond, I think I better have my regular appointments for Mondays and Wednesdays.
Wednesday's out of the question, Duchess. Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Foster. That's the day when I'm on TV.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. and Mrs. Foster are expecting us.
Oh, come in.
Thank you.
Are you from the BBC?
That's right.
Oh, in there.
Thank you.
David, wait a minute. What's your name?
Jessie. Why?
David, we simply must use her. She's absolute heaven. But I've never seen a face like it.
Here, that's enough of that.
It's all right. He's only suggesting that you should appear in a television show with Mr. and Mrs. Foster.
She'd be sensational.
What do you say?
Well, I'd have to ask the master first.
We'll ask him now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is Adrian Lee, who's going to design our sets, Mr. and Mrs. Foster.
How do you do?
Why, dears, what a divine room. It's absolutely you. Your personalities are simply stamped all over it. You know, nobody could possibly invent anything like this. Do you think I might browse around a bit?
Oh, please do.
All right, Jessie.
Oh, I was going to ask you. I think it'd be rather fun if Jessie and Wilson appeared in the series. As themselves, you know. Do you mind?
Not if you don't.
Well, I think it'd be more true to life, don't you?
Fancy me an actress. I shall be like that maid with Life with the Lion, shan't I?
Well, in a way.
Only I don't talk with an accent. All right, then. Oh, as long as you don't expect me to be funny.
You know, it's funny she should have mentioned Life of the Lions, because that's the one thing that DTD had against you two.
Oh.
What was?
Well, the fact that you've no children. You know, to complete the popular conception of real domestic bliss. Still, you never know, do you? If we're a success and we run long enough. Oh, now, first of all, we've got to have a title. Now, that's equally important. We want something, well, short, simple, and effective. Oh, and if possible, bringing in your name.
The Foster family.
Oh, no, too ordinary, too hackneyed. Anyway, as I've just said, it's not factually accurate, is it? Not yet.
I understood we were being engaged for a television series, not to boost the birth rate.
How about Foster Frolics?
It sounds like the Folderols. Fade in the Fosters, do you think?
I can imagine what the critics would do to that one.
Foster parents wouldn't be bad, if only... oh, I'm so sorry.
Follow the Fosters.
Where to?
I'm only throwing out ideas.
Well, you better throw that one right out, hadn't you? The Foster formula.
Oh, there's no need to make it sound like a patent medicine, is there?
How about fostering goodwill?
Why?
Well, it's a play on words. Foster, fostering goodwill.
Oddly enough, even I had understood that. Why not call it festering sores and be done with it?
Simon!
Laura!
That's it. That's it. Simon and Laura. Absolutely straightforward, absolutely simple. It's just what we want. Oh, as long as CT approves.
Of course.
Miss Honeyman.
Good morning, Janet.
Good morning.
Come in, Doctor.
Hello. The first installment.
Oh, good.
Oh, splendid.
Thank you.
What on earth do you think you're doing?
Just you think, all those millions of people when they switch on the tellies. And what are they going to see? Me. Makes your stomach turn over when you think of it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does rather, but never mind. The makeup department can do wonders.
Well, it's all right for you. You've been on the stage before.
But that was different. I was legitimate.
Now, that's enough of that. My parents were married before I was born, and I've got the lines to prove it.
The only lines that need worry you are the ones in the script.
Yes, I know. I don't know how I'm going to remember all those words. You know, you could give me a few tips. You've been in the entertainment business.
This isn't entertainment, this is television.
Well, let's read straight through it, shall we? And we'll see how it sounds.
Allow me.
Oh. Now then, the scene is this lounge. You're off upstairs, Laura. Simon, we pick you up in the hall. Hang up your hat, come in, and cross to about here. Right. All right, up you go, Laura. When you're ready, Simon.
Hat. Darling.
Now, you come down eagerly.
Thank heavens I'm supposed to be an actress. Simon.
Laura.
How did rehearsals go?
Well enough, but I missed you.
I can't be in every scene you're in, darling. Why not?
Oh, part of the play is supposed to take place in a monastery. That comes out in episode 3.
Oh.
Right, over to the sofa.
It's so late and you look so tired.
Well, I had to wait a long time for the bus.
Imagine Simon using a bus.
We have to avoid any snob element.
Poor sweet. Sit down. There.
Besides, I stopped somewhere on the way home
That's the first ring of truth in the script, too.
to buy you a little something for our anniversary.
So you didn't forget.
Something you've had your eye on for a long time. He takes that nice.
The necklace. Oh, Simon, put it on for me.
Round the back.
Right. Is this table going to be here, old boy?
Simon, they're beautiful.
Lucky pearl to be round your neck. Let's dine somewhere very special tonight as a celebration, huh?
Darling, don't you think a quiet little dinner at home would be much nicer? Just the two of us.
When's the boxing coming on?
Not till after this muck.
Well, when's the panel game?
It's been on, Gran.
Why didn't you nudge me? Well, nudge me when the boxing's coming on.
Ah, look at that. That's the Thompson's blasted car again.
Is it the boxing?
No.
Oh.
You are? My darling, a toast.
To us.
Excuse me, sir, there's a police constable in the hall.
A police constable?
A very tough customer, sir.
Oh, well, show him in.
Yes, sir.
Oh, darling, what can he want?
Did you remember to take out the TV license?
But Simon, darling, I thought that you...
But Angel, I thought of you.
Will you come this way, please?
The police tonight, of all.
Oh, perhaps he's only selling tickets for the...
Mr. Foster?
Yes?
Don't you remember, mister?
Coker! Dear old Coker. We were together in the war, darling.
Elsie, look. Who does he remind you of?
Nobody I care to remember.
That's right. Well, he's a spitting image of old Dusty Miller, serving me in Italy.
Well, you needn't think you're going to bring him home. We don't want none of your army friends here, thank you.
They say there's a troop ship just leaving Bombay, bound for old Blighty shore. Heavily laden with time-expired men, bound for the land they adore. There's many an airman just finishing his time, there's many a twerp signing on. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up, my lads, bless 'em all. Bless 'em all, bless 'em all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the...
Elsie, I've gone deaf.
Oh, it's all right, Gran. The sound's packed up.
I'll do it.
You keep your hands off that set. Cost me 90 quid, that did. Not a toy, it's a very delicate instrument.
The wall, you'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up, my lads, bless 'em all.
Oh, David, were we all right?
Well, let's have the press lunch.
My dear fellow, Simon and Laura aren't free. And not for months. Years, perhaps. They're working. Working.
Mom! Mom! Elsie!
Come on, you two, they're just starting.
Oh, Simon, just look at this hole. How on earth do you manage to do it?
Well, it's quite easy, really.
Oh, tea.
Jessie, what a lovely cake.
Madam made it.
It's well produced, it's well acted, it's good up to a point, but it just misses.
Oh, well, do you really think so, sir?
I do. Shall I tell you why? Because family life is not family life without children.
Surely, Sir Simon and Laura are different.
They are. They haven't got any children. If you'd followed my idea in the first place...
I did try, sir, but they just wouldn't hear of it.
They're under contract, aren't they?
Well, of course, sir.
Well, then what are you waiting for? Tell Miss Honeyman to get busy on a new installment using my suggestion.
All right, sir.
Laura, have you read episode 68?
No, why?
Well, they've introduced a blasted kid.
Well, they can't. Everybody knows we haven't got one.
Well, it's a cousin or a nephew or something come on a visit.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Not so bad. He's got all the best lines and the fade-out. Good grief.
Now what?
That's quite a visit. He's in 69 and 70 as well.
Camera 3 by the fire shooting onto the settee, and camera 4 out in the hall.
Where do you want that?
Well, look, I'll show you. Just about. All
Right,
right.
boys and girls.
All right, quiet, everyone. Now, let's run through episode 68, shall we? Good morning, darling.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine.
Good. Timothy? Now, where's Timothy?
Here I am.
Simon, Laura, I want you to meet Timothy.
Hello.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do?
Ah, caught you. It's electronic.
Charming.
All right, Timothy. Now, that's enough fun and games for one day. You go and sit down. Well, now, Simon, you're discovered sitting on the sofa talking to Timothy.
To Timothy.
Right.
Now, Timothy, what have you and Auntie Laura been doing all day? Don't tell me. Let me guess.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Well, what is it?
You're sitting on my chalk ice.
Timothy.
Oh, Miss Hunterman, can I have a word with you, please?
Oh, yes, Jessie, of course. What is it?
Well, it's about the series. I don't feel that my character is sufficiently established.
Oh, you don't?
No, I mean, all the program, all I've done is to open and shut doors and carry trays on and off. I've had quite a lot of letters from viewers about it.
Oh, how is your fan mail these days?
42 letters last week and a proposal of marriage.
Oh, who from?
Well, it was written on prison notepaper, but you could tell it was a gentleman.
I'm sure. Well, what do you want me to do about it?
Well, I thought, couldn't I have a few love scenes?
Oh, who with? Wilson?
Oh, no, I haven't got down to that. No, couldn't I have a bit of a crush on the master?
On Simon? On Mr. Foster?
Oh, a hopeless one, of course. You know, like Pagliacci.
Yes. Well, I'll think it over, Jessie.
Yes, I think you better act.
You're late. Now, where have you been?
To a lecture on electrochemistry.
That was this morning.
Then I had an interview with a film producer.
When?
Immediately after lunch.
It is now 5:30.
Immediately after his lunch. Not mine. Oh, by the way, am I to be a permanent character in this thing?
Maybe.
I'm only signed up for 6 more programs, and if I do the film, I have to have my hair dyed.
Well, it all depends on how good Mr. Prentice thinks you are.
You can hardly win an Oscar with the sort of guff you give me to say.
Thank you, dear. Ask the makeup girl to do both your heads, hmm?
Hello, Uncle. Know your lines today? Hello. For you, Miss Honeyman. Oh, thank you.
Yes? Oh, Laura, hello, darling. Is it urgent? Oh, in that case, I'll come over right away. Trouble. They've just read 108.
Now, don't let them change a thing.
Well, I'll do my best.
Come in.
Could I have a word with you, Mr. Prentice?
Oh, hello, Wilson. Now, don't tell me you want a love interest written in for you and Mrs. Foster.
Oh, no.
Oh, what's the trouble?
It's my nose.
Your nose?
Apparently the makeup girl doesn't bring out its finer points.
Oh.
My sister-in-law phoned to tell me that during the past week it's looked nothing more or less than a blob.
Well, it's probably her set.
No, a brand new 17-incher. And she's not the only one who's noticed it. There was a letter from a lady in Lancashire.
Look, Wilson, what with Jessie wanting her part sexed up, Timothy wanting to dye his hair, and the censor cutting every other word, I have no time to do anything now. But I promise you I will look at it very carefully tonight.
Now, Laura,
Oh,
please.
are
you suggesting that we put up with that little rat for the rest of our television lives?
Well, we can settle that later.
But look what I have to say, with a knowing smile, mark you. Timothy goes back to Shropshire on Saturday. Well, that's a hell of a line. You can't even say it. And then, what would you say, Laura, if he didn't go back, if he stayed here with us for always?
Note that little word, always.
And then, There is a moment's absolute silence. We see Laura's face in close-up, radiant with happiness.
Oh, now listen, Janet. I have acted with octogenarians, dipsomaniacs, dope fiends, amnesiacs, and veteran cars. But I have no intention of trying to keep my end up with a child actor with a face like Timothy's.
The next thing you'll introduce just to keep us happy is a spaniel.
I know every true artist should welcome competition.
Yes, but acting with dogs and children is not competition. It's murder, and we won't do it.
No, we won't. We won't. Timothy, darling, can you give me Miss Bones, the butcher's daughter?
No, Auntie. But could you give me Mr. Bones and Master Bun the baker's son?
Oh.
And Mrs. Potts the painter's wife? Now, Uncle, I'd like Miss Bones and Mr. and Mrs. Mugg.
Oh, Timothy's so good at making happy families, isn't he?
Happy families. Shall we tell him now, Laura?
Yes, darling. Timothy, we've had a letter from a lawyer.
And from now on, you can call us Mommy and Daddy.
Okay, cut.
I think I'm going to be sick.
Oh, I'm so sorry, darling. The CT's just sent for me. He's on the warpath about something.
Oh, don't worry about these. I can manage them.
Oh, all right.
You better not keep him waiting.
Look, I got 2 seats for the midnight premiere tonight. Want to come?
Oh, David, I'd love to.
Pick you up after the show?
Gorgeous.
That'll give us time to eat first.
Mhm.
Oh, listen, I must dash.
David.
Yes?
Good luck.
Thank you. Oh.
David.
Yes? Oh.
Come in.
You wanted me, sir?
Yes. You better take off your coat. Prentice, your program's going bad on us. Listen to this. Divinely happy and divinely dull. Simon and Laura have shown viewers how sublime their marriage is. They've done it well. We believe them. But where do we go from here? I, for one, to the cinema.
Oh, dear.
And listen to this, from a woman correspondent. Too often is the screen filled by the handsome profile of Simon Foster murmuring sugary sentiments to his wife. Thank heavens we're not all so happily married as Simon and Laura. Sometimes surely it's the faults in our men that we love.
But Simon's fundamentally nice, sir. We can't play him against type.
Then play him down. Cut out his profile. Cut him out altogether. Some new blood in the program might help. And that script needs pepping up, too. Tell Miss Honeyman to read Forever Amber.
Sir?
Yes? Hello, David. You sound very het up.
I am het up, so would you be. Look, Laura, are you alone?
Well, yes, quite alone. What is it, something to do with the program? Oh, don't tell me a spaniel has turned up.
Oh, no, it's nothing like that, but it's something I've got to discuss with you, Laura, alone. No. No, look, above all, Simon mustn't know. Can you have dinner with me tonight after the show? Oh, Lord. Well, can't you get out of it? I'm going to have to cut a date myself. That's my Laura. Look, darling, we'll go somewhere very quiet where we're not likely to run into anybody we know. Yes, we don't want the tom-toms to start. All right, and remember, not a word to Simon.
Well, of course not. Goodbye, David.
Ah, there you are. I've been looking for you everywhere.
Really?
Found some cheerful music for our next episode?
Yes. March to the Scaffold.
Oh. Janet, about our date tonight.
Yes?
I'm terribly afraid I shan't be able to make it.
Why not?
Well, I'm working on something for the CT. Beastly nuisance, but he insisted.
But the premiere isn't till midnight, is it?
No, but, well, it'll probably take me all night.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yes, well, I shall just have to snatch a sandwich and carry on.
But a good pull-up for stars, I take it.
I beg your pardon?
You must think I'm a clot. I run your errands, I write your script, I even darn your socks for you. And then you stand me up for a...
Now, look, darling, don't get me wrong.
Wrong? Do you think I don't know what's going on? I wasn't born yesterday, you know.
Oh. Then it must have been the day before.
Oh!
All right.
You see Laura?
Oh, she's changing. She won't be a minute.
Oh. I wanted a quick word with her. The CT wants her to do an in-town tonight on Saturday week.
Oh, Lord, do we have to?
Oh, well, not both of you. Just Laura.
Oh, why just Laura?
Because the winner of the best Christmas pudding recipe happens to be Laura Foster of Newcastle-under-Lyme. And the prize was a visit to the studio and a meeting with the star.
Ah.
So naturally, she chose her namesake.
And if Laura wants to muck up her weekend, she's perfectly welcome.
Exactly. You can enjoy watching her from your own fireside.
We haven't got a set.
Good Lord. Oh, why ever not?
Oh, what we do with one? We can't watch our own programs.
Darling,
Huh?
I've got a splitting headache. I really couldn't face going out tonight.
Well, you haven't had any dinner.
Well, I couldn't eat a thing. But you must.
Oh. Well, if you've really got a headache,
Well, I can easily take a taxi.
No, look, I'll drop you off. I'm going that way.
Would you really?
That's awfully good of you, old boy. I'll have a bite at the club.
Fine. Night, my love.
Hope your head's better in the morning.
Oh, so do I. But at the moment, it's throbbing like a dynamo.
Lovely performance, darling.
Thank you.
Have you got a moment, Simon?
I always have a moment for a charming lady. What's wrong?
Oh, there's nothing wrong. I really wanted to talk to you about your part.
Oh, what about it?
Well, I seem to have run out of ideas. I wondered if you could give me a new line to go on. You know, tell me about yourself. The other side of you, so to speak.
I'll be delighted. When?
Well, I thought as soon as possible. You see, I'm stuck already.
Well, what are you doing for dinner tonight?
Well, I did have a date, but if you're free, I'll break it, of
Oh,
course.
no, I don't want you to do
Oh,
that.
but I must. This is important. I'll meet you at the main door in 3 minutes.
Now, come on, David. What did you want to talk to me about?
Oh. Well, it's a little difficult to know how to begin. You see, Laura, you're such a splendid person, so very loyal and very kind. But what I'm about to suggest, I'm a little afraid is going to make you very cross.
It's something to do with Simon, isn't it?
How did you guess?
I have an intuition about these things. What about him?
Well, dear Laura, what would you say if something were to happen to him? Well, you know, like having an accident or something like that. I mean, just suppose that he wasn't there anymore. Well, would you mind awfully?
Mind? Oh, David, of course I'd mind.
Then I heard the croupier say, rien va plus. I had to turn away. I couldn't watch. And suddenly he said, Vincent. And I gathered in my winnings. My hands were trembling. But I knew what I had to do, and I did it. I put it all on 17. And then I waited, absolutely petrified. 17 came up. Now came the problem. According to the system, I should put it all on number 7. If I lost, I'd already won enough to pay my bill and get back to England. But if 7 came up, I stood to win a fortune.
So what did you do?
I put it all on number 7.
And it came up?
No, I lost a lot.
Oh. Now, look, David, I'm very fond of you. Very fond. Simon, that's something very different.
Yes, but look, isn't there just a chance that, well, if I handled it very delicately...
I think you'd better take me home.
But I haven't nearly finished what I was going to say. Oh, I'm terribly... Look, Laura, we can't possibly talk here. Why not come back to my flat and have a nightcap? It's only in Hallam Street.
All right, but you've got to promise you'll be good.
Well, I'll be as good as I can.
But how on earth did you get back to England?
Well, I was forced to borrow some money from a friend. Oh, I'm sorry. That's enough about me. If you knew how I hated talking about myself.
Oh, but it's been so exciting. You've given me, 100 ideas.
Well, you're a wonderful listener. In fact, you're a wonderful person altogether.
Wouldn't it be marvelous to be in Monte Carlo now?
Marvelous.
Of course, these days, you can fly there and back in no time at all. I've got loads of friends who go over just for the weekend.
Janet, what a wonderful idea. Why don't you and I pop over next weekend?
Oh, Simon. Oh, but Laura.
Well, she's tied up within town tonight.
Oh, wouldn't she mind?
Need you know?
Well, I'd have to think about it.
Say yes. Then we can try out my new system.
Another of the interesting people who is in town tonight is Mr. Peter Harbottle.
Good evening, Mr. Harbottle.
Good evening.
I understand that you claim to be the first man to cross the English Channel in a barrel, is that right?
That is correct.
Well, it must have been most exciting.
Oh, no. It was very tedious.
Really?
Oh, yes. Water. Water everywhere.
Oh, but surely it was pretty dangerous.
Oh, yes, definitely.
When did you first get this idea?
Well, it wasn't my idea. It was the wife's idea.
Oh, well, that explains it. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Harbottle.
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're very glad to welcome our final guest tonight, who is none other than the famous stage, screen, and television star, Laura Foster.
Hello, Laura. Nice to see you.
Hello, John.
And we'd also like to welcome the other Miss Laura Foster, who's come all the way from Newcastle under Lyme to shake her famous namesake by the hand.
Hello, and how do you do?
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure.
Laura, doesn't it feel rather strange to be working without your famous husband?
Well, yes, it does, John, really. But you see, Simon's away having a change of air.
May I ask where he's gone?
Between ourselves to his mother's in Leicester.
Oh. Haven't you something rather interesting to tell us about the Christmas edition of Simon and Laura?
Yes, you see, they've decided to televise it from our own home instead of the studio. There's going to be a party afterwards.
Oh, so the viewers will have an opportunity of meeting a lot of other famous stars.
That's right.
Laura, how do you feel about having your house invaded by a lot of TV technicians?
Well, I think it'll be rather fun.
George, come back as soon as you've got the cable hooked up. Then we'll check the link up.
Timothy, leave that alone.
Why, it's jolly interesting.
You'd be better occupied learning your script. Yesterday you fluffed twice.
Only because Daddy gave me the wrong cues.
Oh, that reminds me. There's a change for tonight that affects you. Laura isn't allowed to say you're having a lovely romp with Angela.
Why not?
Well, you see, romp can mean... Oh, I'll explain when you're a bit older. Come on.
Oh, darling, I'm having such a time.
Jolly good. Oh, Jessie, would you ask Mrs. Foster if I can come up for a moment? I want to go over some cuts with her. And oughtn't you to be getting ready?
I'm not in tonight's installment.
Oh, no, of course not.
I suppose I'm too useful making tea for the engineers.
Laura isn't here, is she?
No.
Good.
Why, good.
She doesn't like me.
Nonsense. We're both devoted to you.
Well, I heard her say I was the last straw that broke the camel's back. Funny how they can't take it.
Who, camels?
No, women.
Take what?
Us. Child actors. Men are different. Men don't seem to mind so much. I suppose it's because they don't realize we're pinching all their scenes from them. They're not a bit intuitive.
What do you mean?
Well, take you. You haven't noticed that the camera's on Laura the whole time now. Last night, you only got one close-up in the whole of the show.
Really?
And that was the back of her head. My mother says she could see your bald spot, as plain as anything.
I can't wait to meet your mother.
She's coming to the party tonight, after the show.
Good.
And another thing. Why do you think they've changed that opening shot? In the embrace, it always used to be you who were facing the camera. Now it's Laura.
I can only assume it's because she hasn't a bald spot.
Oh, Laura, it's beautiful.
It is nice, isn't it? Tomorrow morning, alas, it goes back from whence it came.
Oh, I've come to tell you the censor's made a cut. You can't use the word romp.
Really? Oh, that's a filthy lie.
What is it?
Simon Foster gave Laura Parker 51 for her birthday. How's Monty?
Monty who?
Monte Carlo.
I beg your pardon?
Monte Carlo. It's a seaside resort in southern France. It has the casinos and very accommodating hotels. You flew there on Friday after the show with Simon. How was it?
It rained.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And how did you find that out? Scotland Yard? The French Sûreté? Or your own private sense of smell?
No, a friend of Sybil Hunter saw you. And with the loyalty peculiar to cast-offs, she was on the blower like a shot.
Then there's no point in denying it.
None at all. Did you know that before this program of ours started, Simon and I were breaking up?
Vaguely.
Well, we were. And because we needed the money, we decided to stay put. Purely for business reasons. But it worked. It worked surprisingly well.
You don't think the scripts might have had something to do with it?
I don't mean the damn script, silly. I meant us, Simon and me. Oh. So you can imagine that when those bright, beady little eyes of yours focused not on Simon, but on David, Oh, I was very, very relieved.
Bright blue, beady little eyes, if you don't mind.
Then round about installment 170, something happened. I don't know whether you found David a little dull or you realized he was really married to the BBC. But those bright blue, beady little eyes of yours wandered off him and onto Simon.
Because they realized that David was madly interested in you, and you were using every trick of the trade to get him.
How dare you?
You're paid to start acting at 8:15 when the program goes on the air. There's no need to begin at 7:45, especially with me. Have another drink?
No, thank you.
Very wise. One's enough before the show.
May I come in?
Yes.
Janet?
Hello.
Oh, darling, I forgot to ask you. How was your mother's arthritis last weekend?
All right, thank you.
Was she able to get up from the tables all right?
Tables?
The gambling tables, dear, Monte Carlo.
You've had your little say, Laura. Now I'll have mine. In fact, I'll trade you Monte Carlo for 43A Hallam Street.
For what?
43A Hallam Street. David's flat, last Thursday. Headache night. Remember?
David's flat.
Round about the witching hour of midnight. And witching or no witching, it didn't need Sybil Hunter's broomstick to find that out. I live at 43B.
Is this true, Laura?
We were discussing the script.
Can I come in?
Why not? Let them all come.
Hello, Simon. Hello, Janet.
Hello.
Laura, darling, you look wonderful. Happy Christmas. Ah, well, it's quite an occasion, isn't it? Do you know who's coming on to have a drink with us after the show if he can get away? C.T. Oh, what's the matter? One of the cameras gone again?
Prentice, did my wife spend Thursday night in your flat?
Part of it, yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to know.
Oh, well, really, Simon. Well, you don't think... Well, I admire you two more than any other couple I know.
Couple? I don't remember being included in the invitation to Hallam Street.
But it's because you're so sincere with each other and happy together that...
Oh, David, for heaven's sake, don't start that.
Here, here.
Start what?
Pretending that Simon and I are happy. We're not happy. We never have been.
We get on each other's nerves.
We scream at each other like fishwives. We're a couple of actors who took on a job because we needed the money.
And we're apparently good enough to fool the public, but please don't confuse us with the Simon and Laura in the program.
Unless, of course, you're thinking of an installment where my husband goes off for a gay weekend with your scriptwriter.
With Janet?
They're waiting for you downstairs, Mr. Prentice. And you, sir and madam. You're on in 5 minutes.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, for song. Tip that 39 up.
Testing again. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a monkey by his toe.
Okay. Back left.
Happy Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.
Jolly good night.
With the compliments of the backroom boys, Mrs. F.
Barney, how sweet of you. Simon and Laura. Peace and goodwill and... Oh, blast my makeup. Here, you take it.
Anything the matter?
No, she's just touched by this gesture of yours. Thank you, Barney. Thanks.
Give us your cue light, Harry. Okay, now the other one. Fine, thanks. Any changes in the script, Miss Honeyman?
Dozens. I'll give them to you. If you're thinking of making any changes in the script writer, I'll quite understand.
Give us your alcove lights, please, Harry. Hold that position there, David. I just want to check. Okay.
Why didn't you tell us when we offered you the job that you weren't happily married? Oh, hell.
Okay, Harry. Save them. Give us order number 2.
I'm not at all sure that the corporation hasn't got a case against you two.
Do you mind turning around and smiling for a second, Mr. Foster? Okay, swell.
I don't know what to do now. We can't go on in this situation. Insincerity's the one thing you can't get away with on TV.
We seem to have managed pretty well up till now.
Mr. Prentice?
Yes?
Would you mind standing in for Mrs. Foster, just for the opening shot, you know, the embrace?
Oh, all right.
Would you mind, Mr. Foster?
Not at all.
Hello, Simon.
Hello, Laura.
You know, darling, you look very attractive in tails.
You know, darling, you look very attractive in anything.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks a lot.
I need a drink.
Look, Simon.
Save your lights, Harry. On the diving board, lad.
Caught you two before the show?
Yes.
Oh, it's a little ironical that tonight's script is the first one in which you and Laura are supposed to have a quarrel. You won't let anything that's happened affect things, will you?
Don't worry, we won't throw crockery and four-letter words at each other in front of a camera.
Oh, I don't know whether to tell DTD or not. You know what the corporation is over anything like this? He's a JP, too.
Who is?
DTD.
Oh, is he?
Laura will be all right for the show, won't she?
Don't worry, she once played Cleopatra with a broken ankle, laryngitis, and the hiccups. She'll be all right. She's a very old trooper.
Oh, good.
4 minutes to go, boss.
Everything's okay, Mr. Prentice. There won't be any trouble tonight.
I hope you're right. Timothy, I told you before to leave that alone. Now, go and see to your makeup. It's terrible. Go on, hop it.
I say, aren't you going to get made up?
I am made up.
What are you and Laura going to say instead of romp?
I don't know. I expect something will occur to us.
Laura was at the Café de Paris with him on Saturday night.
Him?
David!
How do you know that?
My mother took me to meet an American film director. They were in the balcony.
So?
When the cabaret's on, it's darker in the balcony.
I am perfectly well aware of the lighting arrangements at the Café de Paris. Thank you.
Well, I think you should do something about it. Kick up a stink, you know.
Thank you, Timothy, for the benefit of your experience in these matters.
Mr. Foster, please. You're on in 1 minute.
Right.
Well. Hello, David. Many congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Bertie.
Mind if we stick around and watch the show?
No, of course not, as long as you keep out of the way and stay quiet.
Oh, we'll be quiet as mice. Won't we, darling? You all right, Wilson? Simon, my dear fellow, all the very best. Do you know Miss Dalrymple?
Madame?
How many of you have?
48 doubles. Do you mind?
Laura, what a vision.
Oh, now, what's that you're drinking?
Goggles.
Oh, Mabel. Here, take these away, for heaven's sake. All right, quiet, everyone.
Okay.
Right, thank you, Barney. Now, don't overdo the quarrel scene. Just play it naturally. All right, places, please, for the opening shot. Now, go and sit down. Please sit down, Bertie.
Other way round.
Why?
Well, because David wants it that way.
For 194 performances, it's been this way round. Why did he suddenly change it one day last week, eh?
Friday it was. Friday morning rehearsal.
Sit down and don't butt in.
I think it more effective with Laura facing the camera, Simon.
Oh, you do you?
Yes. There's nothing personal about it. It just, well, it makes a better picture, that's all.
I see.
Announcement and opening music coming up.
All right, quiet, everyone. Now, take the cue from me, Laura, darling. Good luck.
Tonight we present the special Christmas installment of our nightly serial, Simon and Laura.
Hello, Simon.
Hello, Laura.
You know, darling, you look very attractive in tails.
You know, darling, you look very attractive in anything.
Flatterer. Oh, I do hope Timothy's going to like his Christmas tree. How well I remember the first one I had when I was a little girl. I thought it was a magic tree. How glorious is the innocent imagination of childhood. Every star seemed real. The tinsel was snow. The jewels were baubles from Aladdin's cave.
You know, Laura, darling, sometimes I think you remain a child. That was a damn silly thing to do.
Shut up.
Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen.
Listen. How charmingly they sing.
Steve and crisp and even, and even, and even, and even.
I love the way they keep repeating that little twiddly bit.
Darling, we must give them something.
Though the frost was cruel, when the poor man came inside, gathering winter fuel.
cage and stand by me.
Wilson,
Yes, Master Tim?
are all married people as happy as Mummy and Daddy?
I doubt it, Master Tim. I very much doubt it. I've never heard a harsh word between them. I beg pardon, madam. I didn't hear you come in.
What have you and Daddy been doing in the lounge, Mummy?
Ah, that would be telling.
Why can't I go in there?
A surprise, darling.
I wish it wasn't only going to be grown-ups at the party tonight.
Never mind. Tomorrow, little Angela's coming for tea, and you'll be able to have a lovely
Party?
frolic with her.
The Foster residence? Hold on, please, miss. Miss Mortimer to speak to you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Wilson. I'll take it in the library. Do you mind, darling?
Not at all.
It's a personal matter.
Hold on, please, miss.
Why didn't Daddy take it in here, Mummy?
I don't know, dear.
Was it something he didn't want you to hear?
I suppose it must have been, darling.
A secret?
Perhaps.
But I thought married people never had secrets from one another.
Not real ones.
Why don't you listen and find out what Daddy's secret is?
Because that would be deceitful, Tim. And Mummy trusts Daddy.
Do you?
Implicitly. Now, you run along with Wilson like a good boy.
Well, Laura need never know. All right, same time, same place. Tuesday, my dear. Goodbye, and bless you for everything.
Simon.
Now you're for it, mate. Here's the missus.
Shut up, Bert. Who is Miss Mortimer?
No one, darling.
She must be someone, darling.
Well, nobody who need concern you.
This is so unlike you, Simon. You're usually so frank and open. You have a guilty look, darling. Who is she?
I'm sorry, I can't tell you.
Why not?
Because it's something I don't want you to know.
No, like Monte Carlo. Nothing.
Good grief, Timothy was right.
What are you talking about?
You, nag, pick. Question, worrying every possible piece of scandal like a she-dog with a bone.
Are you calling me up?
Oh, this time you won't get away with it.
Get away with what?
Acting as if you've got a halo, then sneaking round to Hallam Street behind my back.
Simon.
Shut up.
Monte Carlo to you.
And you can't ram that down my throat either. Neasy to you.
Neasy.
Yes, under the table at the Café de Paris.
Who told you that? A little bird, I suppose.
Oh, a little rat.
You're drunk.
And I suppose you're not.
Are you suggesting that I am...
Sozzled, yes. And squinting like mad. You always squint when you're sozzled.
How dare you?
Cut it! Cut it!
I'll show you how sozzled I am.
Aye.
Simon, please. Teach you to hit me.
Simon!
Go on, hit him, chum. Sort him out.
That's right. Try with the man what's trying to his wife.
Well, that's the only way to treat him.
Well, that's the you try it.
Oh, well, if you don't shut up...
After this, Simon, and now you're going to get it.
Oh!
Don't do that, Simon! Simon! Stop!
Who is drawn blood? Use your left. Short-arm jabs. Short-arm jabs.
That's right, Gran. Short-arm jab. Short-arm jab.
Shut up, Bert.
Don't you come there stuff with me, my girl, or I'm one on you.
You try. Go on, just try to
All
now.
right, I will. And you shut up, too. Oh! Oh! Simon!
Will you shoot?
Ooh, you.
David? David, we've been on the air all the time.
What?
I'm terribly sorry, David. I could have sworn we switched off.
Oh, forget it, Barney. We're all in this together now.
Hello, yes? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. One, sir. David, it's the CT for you.
Oh, my hat. Hello, sir.
Congratulations, my boy. Wonderful stuff. You see, I was right. The moment you took my advice, the whole thing comes to life.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. No, of course not, sir. We think tomorrow's is better still.
By the way, who played that handsome, rugged type who came in and gave Simon the KO? Don't remember seeing him before.
Oh, a new chap, sir. I got him from a rep at short notice. No, I'm afraid not, sir. Off to the States in the morning. Films, you know. Of course, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Goodbye, sir.
Are we all fired?
Fired? He's delighted. He said it was the best script yet. Keep it up to that standard, and he wants another one just like it tomorrow.
Another just like that? Oh!
Oh.
Oh.
TV's best ever. And I wasn't in it.
Any sign of Mr. and Mrs. Foster yet?
No.
You've no idea where they can be?
None at all. Madam left the house last night. The master went out first thing this morning.
Bet you they don't turn up.
Am I in it today?
Yes, Jessie.
Two. Only just.
Not quite as full-blooded as last night.
Well, it's up to you to put the blood in it again, Dave.
Any sign of them?
I'm afraid not.
Oh, this is terrible.
Well, what are we going to do?
I'm hanged if I know. Look, go back and tell the rest of the cast we start rehearsals in half an hour and don't let them get worried.
I'm sorry.
Simon,
Where's Laura?
well, isn't she with you?
Does it look like it?
We've been looking for you both. Changes in the script.
Hang the script. Laura's gone. She's vanished.
What?
I've rung the Baxters, I've rung the Hunters, I've rung everybody.
Well, she must be somewhere. Think, man.
I am thinking.
What about tonight's show?
You think I'm going to go in front of a camera with this?
Oh.
Oh, my hat. Janet, write it into the script.
Oh, well, really?
Hello? Bertie. Well, don't just stand there, man. Find Laura.
But I'll ring my mother. There's a good chance she may be there.
Hello, Bertie. Look, Simon's just turned up, but not Laura. Any news of her?
No, not a thing. Offers have been pouring in. What a show, what a performance. But can I find her? No. Yes. David, you must tell me one thing.
Who was Miss Mortimer?
Look, see tonight's installment, you'll find out. Goodbye, Bertie, I'm busy.
I'd better run through the script with Simon. Okay?
Yes, okay.
Now, listen, all you've said at regular intervals for the last 5 minutes is hold on. In times of national crisis, that is a remark I will take from Mr. Churchill and Mr. Churchill only. Now, please get me Leicester 2874.
What makes you think Laura's gone to your mother's?
Because it's the sort of damn fool thing she would do.
They get on well?
Get on well. They're having the time of their life, sitting halfway up that chimney, swilling tea and listing my misdemeanors.
How's the eye?
It's throbbing nicely, thank you.
I was amazed at David.
I was a little taken aback myself.
He's usually so calm. And then suddenly, wham! Bless him.
What do you mean, bless him? Hello? Hello, Mother. How are you? How's your back? How is your back, dear? Are you all right? You sound a bit peculiar. Simon, dear. What? Oh, I beg your pardon. Good day. That was Chester 2874, Mrs. Grant.
How was her back?
She seemed fairly satisfied. Letty, you. Have you got designs on David?
Of course.
There's a man from Woman's Own to see you, sir.
I'll tell him I can't see anybody. That's practically true.
Jessie suggests raw liver.
What, for lunch?
No, your eyes, sir.
That'd fascinate the viewers, wouldn't it? Come on, come on, come on. I suppose the only reason you came to Monte Carlo with me was to make David jealous.
No, to try and make Laura lay off.
Oh, well, you've succeeded. She's laying off the lot of us. Woman, I asked you for Leicester 2874. I don't care if you are a different woman. Prove your superiority over the other one by getting me Leicester 2874. Thank you.
What did she say?
Hold on.
Look, any news?
Oh.
Had a look at the new stuff yet?
I have not. I am holding on with difficulty.
You really ought to get down to it, you know.
Why? You've only shot the back of my head for the past few weeks. I could read my lines.
Foster, I am in no mood for another argument. I've already hit you once. I regret having done so because I'm a pacifist. But if you don't stop behaving like a tetchy 2-year-old, I shall do so again.
Bless you.
And I have a few words to say to you in a moment. I am sick and tired of star actors and actresses. I can think of only one in the last 30 years with whom I'd be willing to spend the rest of my days, and unfortunately, he's dead.
Who's that?
Rin Tin Tin. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, Mr. Prentice, can I have a word with you about the script?
In my office in 10 minutes.
How's your eye, Dad? I brought you a risol to put on it.
Get out! I believed in this program. I thought we had 2 people in it who were examples of what a decent, ordinary married couple should be, even if they were on the stage. Yes, well, I should have checked up. Unfortunately, on a BBC salary, you don't eat in the restaurants where you can check up on
It's
those
quite
sort
all
of
right,
things.
thank you. I'm listening to a talk on the BBC.
But I could not believe that you could be so blatantly deceitful yourself.
Oh, now you're just being a
Well,
bore.
there was a time when you seemed willing to share my particular brand of boredom.
A cracking, pompous bore.
Hello, Mother? How are you,
Well, at
dear?
least I'd have a few moral qualms about spending an illicit weekend with a married man.
How's your back? How is your back,
me for having a
dear?
mild flirtation with Simon.
Is Laura
And
with
yet you've been
you?
doing exactly the same thing with Laura.
She's not.
Laura was in need of a bit of comfort and companionship.
Hooey! There's only one thing Laura was in need of.
Quiet!
Oh.
It's all right, darling. Just some people jabbering. What, you didn't enjoy last night's installment? Neither did we much. Look, if Laura turns up, get her to phone me. Yes, she's walked out on me. Well, yes, dear, but... Well, I know it may be my fault, but I love her very, very much, and I want her back. Oh, those are 3 of the quickest pips in the history of the post office. No, darling, it's this exchange. They've got something against me. Goodbye, darling. Take care of yourself. Take care of... Oh, never mind.
Laura! Where on earth have you been?
Well, David, I'm sorry I'm late, but
We've been looking everywhere for you. The CT wanted a lot of alterations made to tonight's script. I'll get Janet to bring you one along. Get me Mr. Foster's dressing room, will you, please?
She's not at my mother's.
Laura.
Now, where have you been?
to a solicitor and commissioner for oaths.
Oh.
It was the soliciting side of the business I was interested in.
I didn't think you'd need much help in the matter of oaths.
Laura!
And whom, might I ask, have you been soliciting now?
I'm getting a divorce. You ought to put something on that ice and meat of some kind.
But, Laura, darling, you can't.
Can't what?
Get a divorce.
If you think there was a shortage of evidence, I can assure you that Sybil Hunter's chum was both thorough and efficient last weekend at Monte Carlo.
But think of the program. Well, the viewers would never stand for it.
Oh, damn the viewers!
Terrible thing to say.
Come in. Oh, it's you.
Yes. I've got something to say to you.
Janet, I really don't think I want to hear it.
It's just that if you think you can get a divorce because of what happened in Monte Carlo, you're very much mistaken.
My information was that you and Simon had rooms 100, 101.
That's right.
It's very convenient, wasn't it?
Not really.
Well, at least it was adjacent, wasn't it?
Not even that. Your informant should have checked up on the layout as well as the register. There are 100 rooms on each floor. Room 100 is on the first floor front facing the sea. Room 101 is on the second floor back, facing the gasometer, the marshalling yards, and a church with the jangliest bells in southern France. I was in 101.
But not alone.
Quite alone. Approximately 15 seconds after unpacking his sponge bag, Simon left for the casino. He came back at 2 in the morning.
You were seen heading straight for the marshalling yards.
Yes, to borrow money. If Sybil Hunter's private eye had hovered just 2 minutes longer in that corridor, she'd have seen him streaking back to the casino at a speed faster than sound with my francs. He stayed there until after breakfast.
If you think I'm going to believe all this and say, all right, let's forget the whole thing, you're very much mistaken. I'm going ahead with my divorce.
But, Laura, think of the show.
I am thinking of it, and if you'll leave me alone, I'll get on with learning this revolting script of yours. But... oh, what's the use?
Tea, madam. Shall I call Master Timothy and Miss Angela?
Thank you, Wilson. No lines again today.
So you see, Miss Mortimer was merely an elderly masseuse.
So, Masters, why didn't you tell me?
Because I didn't want to worry you with me. Just a touch of arthritis.
And Monte Carlo?
A semi-detached villa in Kensington.
Darling. Hello, dears. Having a nice time?
Yes, Mummy. We've just had a lovely romp, a frolic.
All right, half an hour's break for tea, then we'll run through it again.
Will you have it here, sir, or with Madam?
Here. Thank you, Wilson. I suppose you could do with a cup?
I certainly could. Shall I be mum?
Oh, please do. No sugar.
Timothy, leave that camera alone.
I was only trying
Well,
to...
buzz off. Come on, get going. Sandwich?
No, thank you.
They're meat paste.
I suppose you'd like me to put one on my eye.
Oh, can't you forget that?
No, nor can I forget what happened at Hallam Street on Thursday.
Crumpet?
Thanks, I'll have a bit. David, what did happen at your flat?
Well, we had a couple of drinks.
And then?
Well, then I made the suggestion to Laura.
What suggestion?
Oh, this is awful. Look, I'm terribly sorry.
It's too late to be sorry. What suggestion?
That you should be taken out of the program.
What?
Well, there have been a good many complaints, Simon. You know, about some of your mannerisms.
Mannerisms? I haven't any mannerisms. What was to happen to me?
You were to meet with an accident.
An accident?
You were to be run over.
Run over?
Well, the idea was that you were to be dangerously ill in a nursing home for 12 installments and then die. We were a little bit worried about your funeral because it clashed with Radio Olympia.
And Laura agreed to all this?
Well, she didn't like the idea of wearing black in the program. I promised her it would only be for 6 weeks. And then she was to meet Alec Guinness. You all right, Simon?
Yes, I'm just trying to visualize my funeral on TV.
It was to be in perfect taste, of course. A real tearjerker. A procession of broken-hearted celebrities, angel voices off, the Welsh Girls Choir.
Any flowers?
Masses of them. That's one thing you could never complain about. A sensational exit at the very peak of your popularity. I mean, what more could you want?
I'll have another cup of tea, please.
Hello.
Mrs. Foster, you're wanted in room 23. 23, right away, please.
All right.
Miss Honeyman speaking.
You're wanted in room 23, urgent, miss.
Okay.
The one thing I simply can't understand is you and Janet going off like that.
Well, I've already told you, old boy. It was nothing at all. It was just a bit of a flutter, that's all.
Yes, I've made love to Laura. Oh, if you can call an occasional kiss and a rather clumsy attempt to show a little sympathy making love, as I've done that. But I never wanted to come between you. Why, splitting up you two would be like splitting up Abbott and Costello.
No similarity whatsoever.
Did you send for me?
Are you in love with Janet?
I suppose I am. She certainly excites me a great deal. I never felt that way about any woman before.
What way?
Well, every time I'm alone with her, I feel, well, unsure of myself. It's very disturbing. I suppose it's glandular.
Well, there's no need to go into details.
Glandular? She's a very wonderful person. Oh, but I know it'd never work out.
Why not? I'll have another cup of tea.
Well, obviously she doesn't love me. Oh, I know we'd never make a go of it.
Well, judging by the shouting match this morning, I'd say there's ever a chance. No sugar.
I'm sorry.
I'll have another bit of crumpet. You know, this has been a bit of a facer for me. It's the first time Laura's ever walked out on me, and I don't like it. I wouldn't tell her this for the world, but every time we've been separated before, life has been quite unbearable.
You really are in love with her, old boy.
Of course I am. She's down to earth and honest and practical. She's good fun. She's highly decorative. She's good to have around the house. Well, she's my sort.
There's just one thing I forgot to tell you, Simon. She phoned me up on Friday morning to say that she didn't agree to your being run over.
No hard feelings, huh?
No hard feelings.
David! Oh! Simon! Simon!
Laura.
Oh, darling.
Okay, cut.